I can't say enough of how this center influenced me and the benefits that my wife got from it. I thought nobody can take care of her like me, and I knew I had to do something for my family. It's in their hearts that they want to provide the care for the people that deserve it here.
Welcome to This Week with Sheriff Dave Phelan, a weekly program on LSN Television, Time Warner, right here out of Lancaster. And we're also carried by a number of our radio affiliates, Fairfield County and beyond. And do appreciate you, the viewers and listeners that join us each and every week. And certainly the folks here at Fairfield Christian Academy that help us put this program together. And if it was not for their hard work, we would not be able to do this program. It's done absolutely free. And again, I appreciate the students here at Fairfield Christian Academy that do this program each and every week. Our program is about what's going on here in Fairfield County, and this week, special guest is Sergeant Jesse Hendershot. Good to see you, Sarge.
You too, sir.
And the sergeant is currently our relief sergeant during first watch. And before we get started, tell us a little bit about your background.
Well, I'm a graduate of Liberty Union High School, and I went further in my career. I went to Hawken College.
Okay.
And graduated from Hawken College and applied with the Sheriff's Office, and eventually got hired as an auxiliary, and then worked for a little while, and then until I got hired full time.
Now, how many years have you been on?
Been on about 7 years now.
7 years,
yeah.
And certainly have been promoted to sergeant. How long ago was that?
Back in May last year.
So relatively new.
Mm-hmm.
What's the biggest difference between transitioning from a deputy to a sergeant? I mean, that's having done that many years ago, I know that it has its challenges sometimes.
It does. You take more of a role as being a leader, as far as being a supervisor, and as a supervisor, you're trying to help out your deputies, your fellow deputies that you're supervising.
Right.
And you're also trying to help out your superiors, your lieutenants and chief and sheriff, and trying to help everybody out.
Okay.
And it takes a lot.
Now, one of the things that I've noticed about you over the years, other than you do a great job, you already have a number of awards to show that, is the fact that you believe in physical fitness.
Correct.
And how important do you think it is as far as doing your job, as far as being physically fit? And then we'll talk a little bit about some of your accomplishments.
I think it's very important, not only in the job itself, but everyone should be physically fit.
Okay.
To help themselves out. But as far as our job goes, numerous times I've chased people down the street and caught them. A lot of people don't catch them, but a lot of people look at that when you're on a call. The deputy that's coming up to their house, if they're physically fit or if they're not physically fit, they look at that.
Now, were you athletic in high school?
Yeah, I ran track and cross country and played some soccer.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've been out here, you've chased some people on foot as deputy, huh?
Yeah, that's fun time.
Have you lost any?
No. No, I haven't lost any yet.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
I always figured in my younger years, when I was an officer, that I wasn't always as fast, but if I could keep them in sight, eventually, because I was a distance runner,
yeah.
As long as I could watch them in time, that they would run out of fuel, so to speak.
Yep. And all of these guys, they're quick on the trigger to run, but they don't get very far, especially for distance guys.
Yeah, and you're a distance guy.
Yeah. Correct.
So now, within the last few years, you've been involved in some things where you've represented the sheriff's office. Would you mind sharing a couple of those things?
Yeah, Battle of the Badges is the first one.
And what is the Battle of the Badges?
It's a stair climb at the Rhodes Tower in Columbus, and Cystic Fibrosis Foundation puts it on.
Okay.
And it's to support the kids and everything that they have to go through. And I've done it for the past 5 years now.
And that's fire service versus law enforcement.
Yeah, fire goes against fire, and then law goes against law enforcement, and we compete against each other. And we put on a vest, 15-pound vest,
Okay.
and we run up the stairs as fast as we can. And there's different ways to do it. You know, you can do it by yourself, do all 40 flights, and you can do it 2-man and 4-man team. And I've done them all 3 ways now.
And so how have you done?
Pretty good. The first year I got 3rd place as a solo, and then
Wow.
Myself and Sergeant Collins placed first in a 2-man team. And then this year, as a 4-man team, we placed 2nd. So
That's pretty impressive.
yeah, so we have a good time with it. We enjoy it, and it's to benefit the kids. So
And so, what else? You've done some other things. In fact, you're
Yeah.
going to be going out of state here pretty soon, right?
yeah, we're going to be doing the Iron Warrior Dash. It's a 15-mile race. So we haven't done anything that long. So we're going to attempt that. That's in Georgia this year. And then in the past, also done Ohio Police and Fire Games, where I've done
Okay.
a bunch of track events in that.
Okay.
And then the Can-Am Canadian American Games, which is held every 2 years.
Okay.
It was in Dublin a couple years ago, and I competed in World's Toughest Competitor,
All right.
and then some 5K stuff.
So now, within these events, is there law enforcement agencies from all over the state or all over
Yeah.
the country that come to participate?
Yeah, all over the state, and then the Canadian American Games. Actually, there's probably more Canadians there in Dublin than there was Americans.
Really?
So it was kind of fun talking to them guys.
And so, what are some of the things that you do to stay in good physical shape? And how important is diet part of that, or is it important to you?
Well, I have a high metabolism, so
Yeah.
I'm a little lucky on that end. But diet is important. You know, my wife feeds me pretty good,
Okay.
so she makes sure we have good meals at home and we're not eating out all the time. But you know, cardio is the biggest thing. A lot of guys want to go out and work out with the weights and stuff, and it builds muscle, but it doesn't help you out as far as cardio and keeping your cardiovascular, you know, fit. So I think it's very important.
Now, before you were promoted, you worked on the road, worked in a sector, and what is probably one of the most common calls that a deputy goes on in Fairfield County? The nature of the call.
I would have to be a threats or harassment call. We're sent on them all the time, and it's usually over Facebook or over the phone.
Really?
Somebody won't stop calling, or they won't stop texting.
Okay.
So, and then a lot of stuff can be avoided.
Mhm.
You know, we just got to show them the proper ropes to go through to avoid that. And a lot of times the phone calls, you know, if we just give a courtesy phone call to somebody and say, you know, quit calling this person, and it usually takes care of it.
Sometimes that'll take care of it.
Yeah. So
Okay.
they know law enforcement's involved. They don't want to, you know, get tied up with any kind of charges or anything.
Yeah. So
So-
many times it's just like approaching them, talking to them, and that takes care of the problem.
Yeah, it does.
So you worked in the jail, you worked in the road division, and now as a supervisor. I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit because this might be tough to kind of. Is there one call or one type of an incident that you kind of can remember over the last 8 years that really kind of sticks out in your mind, or something that kind of happened that was kind of like something you didn't anticipate, or something that was kind of like real out there, or
Yeah, so probably one of the craziest ones was in Millersport when we were responding to an unruly juvenile,
Okay.
and I'm getting up on scene, and I'm getting close, and we always wait for our backup as precautionary, just like a domestic. I'm sitting there, and the radio advises that there's shots fired. So, you know, we try to figure out what's going on, what the juvenile is doing. What ended up being a 15-year-old, and supposedly she's bipolar. She takes medications and stuff. So I wait for my backup, which was Deputy McDermott, and we get on, and I see her, and I'm radioing that she's running outside the house with the gun, and she runs, you know, down towards the school in Millersport. So my backup gets there, and we go chase her, and we get out with her in the middle of the road, and you know, we order her, you know, multiple times, 4 times to drop the gun, and she had it up in the air and everything, and she finally, you know, dropped it, and we didn't have to, you know, take her life that day. So
Wow.
yeah,
And that was
So-
a teenager.
yeah, 15-year-old. So
Wow. And a lot of these calls that you go on, does it involve people that are that have problems, emotional problems or psychological problems?
yeah, a lot of times, you know, they diagnose them as bipolar and all kinds of diseases, but you know, I don't know what for sure they have, but
Right.
a lot of times we get called to the same houses on the same people.
Yeah. Now are you part of the SWAT team?
Yeah, I've been on the SWAT team for about 3 years now. So we have training every month, and it's really good training.
Okay.
So, and I've enjoyed it ever since I've been on.
Now, the SWAT team, you have to try out for that.
Yes.
And so you're being physical fit, that kind of helps?
Yeah, but I actually tried out a couple times.
Okay.
You know, because being a younger guy, you know, they want to make sure that it's the right fit.
Uh-huh.
And so I tried out a couple times, and then they finally decided to put me on the team. You know, I worked out hard enough, and I could shoot good enough, so they.
Yeah. And what type of situations do we activate the SWAT team here in the county?
Anything that's a high-risk, dangerous situation. If somebody's, you know, locked themselves in the house, we need to get them out for some reason. You know,
Okay.
whether it's they're hurting themselves or, you know, if they just have a warrant and don't want to come out,
Mhm.
then we activate the SWAT team. And anything that's going to put a serious danger to one of the deputies.
And also, I think it's really kind of interesting about our SWAT team, that is not your full-time assignment, is it? That's something that you're, because we do not have enough people to keep, like Columbus SWAT team, they have a SWAT team that stands by, they're ready to go at any time. We actually call you guys as we need you, so that
Yeah.
could be at home, 3 o'clock, it could
Yeah.
be Sunday afternoon or whatever.
I've been at home in bed 3 o'clock in the morning, get a page on my phone, and, you know, I look at the wife and tell her I got to go. I'll be back in a little bit.
Okay.
So, yeah,
Any SWAT calls that you've been on that kind of come to your mind? That are,
not recently. It's been kind of quiet as far as SWAT calls.
Okay.
go. Last one was on a pink slip trying to get a guy out of the house on Valentine Road. We were out there for a couple hours. So he was suicidal,
okay,
and he eventually came out. He had been drinking too.
okay.
Doesn't help anything.
That doesn't help. that doesn't help at all.
So,
Now, Jesse, as you kind of think back during just the 8 years you've been on, what's some of the changes as far as what you've seen within our community? Have you seen any changes that have really kind of you've noticed, or is it pretty much the same as 8 years ago?
I would have to say maybe some of the drugs have changed.
Okay.
Going towards more different types of drugs, and the fact that a lot of guys are getting hooked on them a lot easier,
Right.
and they can't get off of them. So that's the big problem in the county lately.
Now, the other thing I thought, since you're a local guy here, went to school here, do you ever come across people like in a traffic stop or a situation that you went to school with?
Yeah, I have. And I've given some of them tickets before, and I've
Yeah.
let some go before.
Okay.
And so one of them, you know, she almost ran my foot over after I gave her the ticket.
Is that right?
Yeah, she was in such a hurry that she was mad that I pulled her over. I think she was going like 16 over or something.
Okay.
So then I gave her the ticket, was trying to explain the process to pay the ticket.
Yeah.
She just sped off right there, and so I was like, whatever.
Yeah, I had an interesting situation when I was a Columbus policeman. I got assigned into my neighborhood, where I actually lived, where I got haircuts, where I did everything, and so it was kind of funny because at some point in time I knew a lot of people on the thing. So it was the same thing. You might be stopping your barber or the guy at the grocery store for speeding, and but over and all it was a very positive experience because I took a lot of. I probably never worked any harder because I was kind of with my neighbors, and I knew everybody. I knew everybody at the store. I knew the neighbors. I knew the teachers because I'd actually gone to school there, and my kids were actually going to school in the same neighborhood.
Yeah.
So it was pretty neat.
Yeah, I was booking one guy in one day, and it was halfway through the process. We were fingerprinting him. He finally realized that he remembered me from high school because he had been brought in from Lancaster for a bar fight.
Okay.
So he was drunk, and halfway through the process, he's like, "Oh, I know who you are." So.
Well, Sarge, we're just about out of time. Do appreciate. I'd like to have you come back here in the next few months. One of the things we're going to be working with Sergeant Hendershot on is a lot of projects in the Fairfield County Sheriff's Office. He's going to be kind of our troubleshooter. If we have a project or something we think needs to be done, we're going to be looking to him. Do appreciate you being with us, and appreciate you, the viewers and listeners that join us each and every week. And again, I want to thank the folks here at Fairfield Christian Academy to help us put this program on. If it was not for their participation, we wouldn't have this program. And you, the viewers and listeners, do appreciate your nice comments as we're out and about during the community. Or going to different events and different things, and do appreciate all the comments we get about this program. If you have any questions of me or anything within the Fairfield County Sheriff's Office, feel free to call me. My number is 740-652-7252. Do appreciate your comments. Well, the clock on the wall says we've got to go. Until next week, same time, same place. God bless. If you're out there driving, buckle up, and we'll see you right here next week.
My life is full of statistics. Thing is, I could have dropped out of school and become one myself, but I didn't because I had people that believed in me. Here's another statistic. 7,000 students drop out every school day. That's one every 26 seconds. It's time that students know that we believe in them.
Inspire a student and share your message of support at boostup.org.